welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, politically, it's been a very active week. We've seen happenings around both the Congress and the BJP. First, of course, with the Jitin Prasad joining the BJP from the Congress. But more importantly, it's really the state of UP that's been a buzz. We've seen there's been a sort of a face-off between Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and the central BJP leadership. There was even talk of a change of guard, but I think we can safely rule that out. It's too close, really, to the state polls, which are due in a few months. So what exactly has happened? We've also saw the Chief Minister air dash to Delhi at maybe he was summoned. Some people say no, he actually came to Delhi to give his side of the story, because if you remember, there have been a lot of his state ministers have been meeting BL Santosh in charge of UP and talking to him about what is happening in the state. There have also been people who've been unhappy with the handling of the pandemic. They feel that the UP Chief Minister didn't do his best, and there's even talk of a change of guard. There's an AK Sharma, a bureaucrat who was sent from Gujarat to become an MLC. He's Modi's chosen man. So a lot has been happening in UP. To try and decipher this, I have with me a panel of analysts. We have, of course, Ashutosh. He's the founder, editor of SatyaHindi.com. Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, author. He's a biographer of Prime Minister. He's written a book on Modi. He's also written a book, Icons of the Hindi Right, which surprisingly, Nilanjan, is a book that I was going through. So it's with me right now. And Aditi Phadnis, political editor for Business Standard, and Hemant Tiwari, senior journalist who's been Lucknow-based. He's been really following the happenings in the state for nearly 3 decades now. But Nilanjan, I'll begin with you. What do you make of this happenings between Chief Minister Yogi and Prime Minister? It can't be a face-off because there's a difference in the seniority, but there is obviously all is not well also.
This is an unprecedented crisis within the BJP. I have never seen, at least in the Modi era, this kind of an open, confrontation between the central leadership and the state leadership. Right from the time that Yogi Adityanath became Chief Minister in 2017, he's been possibly the most independent of all Chief Ministers that the BJP has had. That has not been to the liking of the central leadership, especially Mr. Modi and the Prime Minister's office, which has actually steered the state governments or BJP state governments in various states. That has been the approach, and whereas Yogi Adityanath wanted to do the same thing, which, if you remember, Mr. Modi, as the Chief Minister of Gujarat, used to do to the central leadership, which is to sing his own tune. Now, out here, we find, that Yogi Adityanath is doing the same thing to Mr. Modi. So history always comes back to you. So it has come back in a way, and this crisis, the longer it continues, the more damage it is going to do the BJP. The meetings have been described by Mr. Yogi Adityanath as courtesy calls. He's calling them, courtesy calls, and so are various other people within the BJP meeting, different set of political leaders of different parties. Anupriya Patel was met, Amit Shah met her yesterday. The longer it continues, is going to be tougher. Within the next 2 or 3 days, I think we'll get to understand that whether the central leadership has been able to prevail or Mr. Yogi Adityanath had his way. It will all depend if there is a reshuffle where certain people who the central leadership wants, including AK Sharma, in the cabinet in a very crucial position. If it happens, then it would mean that the central leadership has its way. Otherwise, it's Yogi Adityanath all the way.
Ashutosh, I've seen you every night, really. You've been on the trail of this story. So can you, just take us through the week, what's been happening, and, whether this culmination in Delhi is a letdown, or is it something you were expecting that was going to happen?
Why did we carry the story? Because I personally believe that since 2014, when the Modi became the supreme leader of the party, this is the biggest intra-party conflict in the BJP itself. There had been stories about how Vasundhara Raje Scindia had been defying Mr. Modi, how Yediyurappa is still continuing despite Modi wants him to be replaced by somebody else. But Yogi Adityanath is in a different league altogether. We all remember that Yogi Adityanath has never been trained into the RSS, so he is not an RSS cadre. Secondly, he has always maintained his autonomy in the BJP. So neither he's constrained by the by the training of the RSS, and nor is constrained by the BJP discipline. So this is important. And then Mr. Yogi has assumed and believes so that he is the one who should be leading the party once Mr. Modi is out as a supreme leader. Yes. He has been presenting himself as a future prime minister. No other chief minister has guts, and has no other chief minister dared to get his stories published in the Time magazine, in the Wall Street Journal, in Economist also. And so that shows his ambition. Now the issue is that when he decides to defy, I'll use the word defy, Mr. Modi, this creates a problem for the BJP and the Modi himself. This particular incident has not only diminished the stature of the Mr. Modi, but has also diminished the stature of the BJP. It has also exposed that how disciplined the party is, because a prior chief minister who switches off his phone for more than 24 hours doesn't want to listen to the RSS number 2 and doesn't want to appoint somebody who's been very close to Mr. Modi. That shows that he wants to maintain his autonomy. Not only he wants to present his present, not only he wants to save his present turf, but also he's fighting for his future turf.
I think it's, I'll take from Ashutosh's beginning first point that the whole problem is because some people see Yogi as Modi's successor, and clearly Modi is not ready to have a line of succession for the next 10, 20 years. He doesn't want this idea of a successor being talked about at all. Is that the problem?
Well, I think when Yogi Adityanath became active in the BJP, I think he gave up a lot. A lot was demanded of him, and he complied. I mean, after all, he did disband a kind of a parallel army of workers, the Hindu Yuva Vahini, which he had floated in Gorakhpur and elsewhere, and he disbanded it. So those people who were deeply engaged in a kind of a, how shall I put it, a pillar of support, dedicated support for Yogi Adityanath, just found that they had been flung aside. Now, Yogi Adityanath is reminding the BJP leadership that, look, I gave up all this for you because you asked me to give it up. Now it's not fair for you to ask me to accept everything that you impose on me, including former bureaucrats and people who have had no experience in winning elections. So, to some extent, possibly the discord is actually a problem in his functioning as the chief minister. On the other hand, it's also true that the central leadership is more than conscious that it must have more strings to its bow. So naturally, it wants to cultivate as many people as it can. I mean, I found it very interesting that when Jitin Prasad came to the BJP, the chief minister of UP heard about it from TV shows. So it's very odd that he did not meet the chief minister, that there was no interaction between the two. He said so himself in an interview he gave to the Indian Express. So,
which he actually has now met him when the chief ministers come to Delhi. Hemant ji, you are the one really on the ground, in Lucknow. तो ये जो हम सुन रहे हैं दिल्ली में कि योगी की सीट को खतरा है कि A.K. शर्मा आएंगे उनको रिप्लेस करेंगे, मोदी के chosen one A.K. शर्मा है, और दोनों के बीच में भी नहीं बन रही है, तो सच क्या है, ऑन ग्राउंड की क्या रिपोर्ट है?
देखा, I know Mr. Yogi since his emergence in politics way back in 1998, and at the time when he was on peak, means 2017, when he surprisingly came as a front runner for the post of chief minister in Uttar Pradesh. तो सन 1998 से लेकर के 2017 तक मुसलसल देखा मैंने योगी आदित्यनाथ को गोरखपुर का सांसद रहते हुए, लेकिन इस दौरान जिस पार्टी के वे सांसद रहे, उन्होंने मात्र 2 बार, जस्ट 2 times, उन्होंने भारतीय जनता पार्टी का जो विधानसभा मार्ग पर उत्तर प्रदेश का दफ्तर है, मात्र 2 बार वहां प्रवेश किया था। तो कितने भाजपाई हैं इसको लोग समझ सकते हैं, लेकिन भाजपा के टिकट पर जीतते रहे। और सन 2000 में असेंबली इलेक्शंस में, 2002 में जो केंद्र में मंत्री जिनको बनाया गया शिव प्रताप शुक्ला, जो उस वक्त लगातार असेंबली इलेक्शन गोरखपुर प्रॉपर से जीतते थे, उनको अपने हिंदू युवा वाहिनी के कैंडिडेट से, रेबल कैंडिडेट से चुनाव हरवाया था योगी जी ने। तो कहने की कोई जरूरत नहीं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की टॉप लीडरशिप को पता है कि योगी आदित्यनाथ का भाजपा से क्या रिश्ता रहा है। कोई ऐसा इलेक्शन, राजनाथ सिंह तो जानते हैं, इनकी प्रॉब्लम झेल चुके हैं, कोई ऐसा इलेक्शन नहीं रहा होगा असेंबली का जब योगी आदित्यनाथ ने देवी पाटन और गोरखपुर मंडल की कम से कम 12 से 15 सीट पर अपने कैंडिडेट्स, भाजपा के नहीं, भाजपा के कैंडिडेट्स के खिलाफ लड़ाए हों। तो इतिहास छोड़ दीजिए। लेकिन 2017 में जब 324 विधायकों की सरकार बनी, जिसमें 312 अकेले भारतीय जनता पार्टी के थे, मतलब इतिहास में सबसे अधिक कामयाबी वाला भारतीय जनता पार्टी का चुनाव, जिसका सबसे बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन जिसमें नरेंद्र मोदी का रहा है, एस्टेब्लिश फैक्ट है, इससे कोई नकार नहीं सकता। जब इनका नाम आया तो बहुतों को आश्चर्य हुआ, इंक्लूडिंग टॉप ब्रासेस ऑफ बीजेपी इन उत्तर प्रदेश, क्योंकि वह इलेक्शन एक ओबीसी लीडर, देखिए मैं एक बात बता दूं इस पूरी डिस्कशन में जिसकी चर्चा बड़ी कम आती है, 2014 के पहले उत्तर प्रदेश में ओबीसी कोई वोट बैंक भारतीय जनता पार्टी का नहीं था, वो स्कैटर्ड था, अलग अलग शिफ्टेड था। लेकिन जब से चर्चा हुई कि नरेंद्र मोदी पिछड़ी जात से आते हैं 2013 से, जिसको बहुत अच्छे तरीके से आरएसएस की अपनी विंग्स ने पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश के गांव-गांव तक फैलाया, तब से ये ओबीसी, गैर यादव ओबीसी, और मैं तो ये कहूंगा कि 2014 के पार्लियामेंट्री इलेक्शन में, 2017 के असेंबली इलेक्शन में और 2019 के पार्लियामेंट्री इलेक्शन में कुछ प्रतिशत यादव वोट भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आए नरेंद्र मोदी के चेहरे पर। तो आप जानिए 2017 का चुनाव जीता गया, नरेंद्र मोदी का चेहरा था। केशव प्रसाद मौर्य जो ओबीसी से आते हैं, मौर्य कम्युनिटी से हैं, उनको इसीलिए प्रदेश अध्यक्ष बनाया गया, क्योंकि जो लहर 2014 में जो स्वाद मिला था इनको ओबीसी वोट्स का, उसको मुकम्मल मजबूत किया जाए 2017 में। ये सारे फार्मूले कामयाब हुए। लेकिन इन फार्मूलों की कामयाबी के बाद जब चीफ मिनिस्टर बनने की बात आई, जिसके सबसे बड़े क्लेमेंट केशव मौर्य थे, पर्दे के पीछे कहीं न कहीं से राजनाथ सिंह भी हो सकते थे, क्योंकि ये बात नरेंद्र मोदी और अमित शाह के दिमाग में थी, और आ गए योगी आदित्यनाथ। योगी आदित्यनाथ क्यों आए ये सवाल उठा, लेकिन कभी सवाल पूछा नहीं गया, क्योंकि अभी जैसा जिक्र किया निरंजन जी ने, 2014 के बाद से भारतीय जनता पार्टी को जो उत्तर प्रदेश में मैंने देखा है वो बड़ी डिसिप्लिन पार्टी के तौर पर देखा है। 2014 के पहले यहाँ 8 गुट होते थे, 8 फ्रैक्शंस, जिसमें एक गुट राजनाथ सिंह का होता था, एक कलराज मिश्रा का होता था, एक केसरीनाथ त्रिपाठी का, एक ओम प्रकाश सिंह का, ऐसे ऐसे विनय कटियार का, इस तरीके से भारतीय जनता पार्टी बटी हुई थी। लेकिन 2013 में जब यहां अमित शाह आए, मैंने तो अपनी आंखों से देखा है, टुकड़ों में बटी पार्टी में इतनी तेज डिसिप्लिन आई, चाहे अमित शाह का भय रहा हो या भारतीय जनता पार्टी की नए एग्रेशन की पॉलिटिक्स का नतीजा।
तो अब क्या हुआ, फिर से गुटबाजी आ गई?
मैं 1 मिनट बस 1 सेकंड आपको बता रहा हूं उसमें कि अमित शाह जब चलते थे बीजेपी की स्टेट हेडक्वार्टर में, तो उनसे 4 फीट पीछे चलते थे दूसरे नेता, उनके बगल खड़े होने की किसी हिम्मत नहीं होती थी। उसका नतीजा हुआ, और उसी भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने यह भी दिन देखा, जैसा अभी आशुतोष जी ने बहुत अच्छा इंगित किया। इसको सबसे पहले मैंने ट्वीट किया था, मैंने लिखा था, बहुत लोग मुझसे नाराज हो गए। मुझे मालूम था दत्ता जी आए हुए हैं, दत्ता जी ने अपना प्रोग्राम एक दिन एक्सटेंड किया था। दत्तात्रेय होसबोले, जिन्होंने योगी आदित्यनाथ की कई बार की नाकामयाबी हो, मैं मेंशन कर दूं कि दिसंबर 2019 में जब 200 के आसपास विधायकों ने विधानसभा में धरना दे दिया, तो सरकार के खिलाफ नहीं हुई, योगी आदित्यनाथ के खिलाफ धरना था, लेकिन उसको स्पेसिफाई करने में पर्दे के पीछे से इन्हीं होसबोले जी की बड़ी भूमिका रही, और माना जाता था कि होसबोले जी का बरदस्त योगी आदित्यनाथ को है। तो उन्हीं होसबोले जी से ये नहीं मिले। एक अगले राउंड में और बताऊंगा, मैं एक फैक्ट और बता दूं आशुतोष जी, असल में जब एके शर्मा को भेजा गया, एके शर्मा इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी में हमारे 1 साल सीनियर रहे, मैं तब से उनको जानता हूं, बड़ा कूल काम गई है, लेकिन नरेंद्र मोदी के अत्यंत विश्वास पात्र सबने देखा। जब एके शर्मा को उत्तर प्रदेश में लॉन्च करने की कवायद शुरू हुई, तो शुरुआत में तो उसको बड़ा स्पोर्टिंगली योगी आदित्यनाथ ने भी लिया, लेकिन जब इनको ये बताया गया कि गुजरात में सरकार कैसे चल रही है, गुजरात में 79 बैच के एक रिटायर्ड ब्यूरोक्रेट है मिस्टर कैलाशनाथन, कहा यह जाता है कि कैलाशनाथन की निगाह से नरेंद्र मोदी पूरे गुजरात को देखते हैं। विजय रूपानी मुख्यमंत्री हैं, लेकिन आदेश निर्देश नीतियां वो जो
कैलाशनाथ वैसे ही आप कहते हैं कि ए.के. शर्मा बन गए हैं।
उनको लग रहा था योगी आदित्यनाथ को, जब ये उनके सलाहकारों ने बात समझाई कि जब ये आकर के पुलिस और होम डिपार्टमेंट और अपॉइंटमेंट डिपार्टमेंट ये देखेंगे तो आप क्या करोगे, तो इसीलिए भेजे गए। शुरू में तो बड़ा आवभगत किया लोगों ने, लेकिन उसके बाद ये कन्फ्रंटेशन की स्थिति आई और जो योगी आदित्यनाथ अपने 25 मिनट के भाषण में 39 बार माननीय प्रधानमंत्री का मार्गदर्शन और आशीर्वाद शब्दों का इस्तेमाल करते थे, उन्होंने एक लंबी दूरी उनसे खींची। और सही आपने कहा, आशुतोष जी ने कहा, नीलांजन जी ने भी समझा। मैं समझता हूं जो बारीकी से इस पॉलिटिक्स समझते हैं वो जानते हैं कि 2017 में योगी आदित्यनाथ को उत्तर प्रदेश जैसे स्टेट का चीफ मिनिस्टर बनाने के पीछे जो भी मंशा आरएसएस की रही हो, निश्चित रूप से कहीं न कहीं नरेंद्र मोदी के मुकाबले कट्टर हिंदुत्व के एक पोस्टर बॉय को इस्टेब्लिश करने की एक कोशिश थी। और जो टाइम मैगजीन से लेकर के पूरे इंटरनेशनल मीडिया में जो भी प्रचार प्रसार की बातें आई, ये कहीं ना कहीं उसका एक हिस्सा रही हैं।
Nilanjan, you're best placed to tell us what is the RSS thinking in all this? You know, are they supporting Yogi? Are they supporting? Are they going to let the Prime Minister have a free hand? Is the RSS a little unhappy with the Prime Minister ever since the pandemic has broken out?
No, Priya, we'll have to go back a bit. You know, your question is actually, you know, to actually reply to it. You know, I'll have to go back to about 2013. That is the time when it was not very clear that who is going to be the next leader of the BJP for the 2014 elections. Now, at that time, you know, fresh from his victory again in Gujarat in 2012, that is the time Mr. Modi had already started very silently lobbying to become the prime ministerial candidate of the BJP. So the situation, you know, he also started being recognized by diplomats. There was this very, fairly infamous lunch which the EU hosted for Mr. Modi when he came to Delhi for the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, and it was hosted, I think, at the German ambassador's residence. So, you know, there was a general all-round sense that Modi is coming, but the RSS was still holding its guns because the RSS had a bitter relationship with Modi at the time when he was chief minister. We have to keep in mind and recall that Manmohan Vaidya, who was handling the Sangh in Gujarat for Nagpur, he was forced to go out and be posted to Chennai. The RSS had expected Mr. Modi to bow to the RSS leadership in Gujarat, which he did not. He said he decided to be his own man. What I was telling you earlier, that he did to the central leadership what Yogi has been trying to do. We remember that there was times we used to do stories that in this national executive Modi, is Mr. Modi going to come or is he going to once again stay out? You know, 2011, 12, that very famous, you know, yatra which Advani wanted to take out, but Modi did not allow to him to do it and instead took out his Sadbhavna yatras. So there's a certain background to it. Now, at that point, the RSS did not want, really speaking, you know, from the heart, to have Modi because he was somebody who was outside the fold of the discipline. You know, he did not accept their policies, or rather their way of working. He was too individualistic for them. But the RSS leadership felt that there was tremendous pressure from within, from the cadre, and if Modi is not put in that position, there will be a virtual revolt, and the RSS leadership will possibly end up losing the organization which they clutch on. That is why they very fairly grudgingly they accepted Mr. Modi, and also they realized that he was also electorally the best bet. So they became a kind of a compromise, and then said that chalo aage chalke we will go and see that how do we handle it. So I think, you know, Yogi Adityanath, despite the fact that he had no basis in the RSS, he was not from the RSS, he was from the Gorakhpanthis, which were actually separate from his predecessor Avaidyanath, was also started from the Hindu Mahasabha. They decided to have a counterbalancing force. I would say, I'm using the word counterbalancing not as an opposite pole, but somebody to who can, you know, play around. But thereafter, Yogi Adityanath became one, and, you know, we can safely say that he's become what we say he's become a rogue elephant, somebody who's become more powerful than the herd.
In fact, as Ashutosh said, he's become what Modi was, and you've also drawn the same parallel. What Modi was as chief minister is now what Yogi is. But is Yogi going the prime ministerial ways? That's the next question. Ashutosh.
No, I think it's too early to say that, for the simple reason because we fail to understand the Modi's personality and the Yogi's personality. Mr. Modi has always been has a very cold and very calculated mind over his shoulder. And unfortunately or fortunately, Yogi don't carry that kind of a mind, that kind of a head. And Mr. Modi, though he always lock horns with the tops in the party and in the RSS, he always cultivated people below those people who were on the top. And that's one reason that the middle rank and the lower ranks of the RSS, the middle rank and the lower ranks of the BJP, they completely fell for Mr. Modi's charisma. So that's one reason. So that means he has been planning not only he simply didn't jump in 2013. I think he started planning to be the prime minister of the country since 2007 onwards when he won that election. And you remember that the top corporate big ones, they started talking that he's the prime ministerial candidate, something like that. So he let go 2009. He wanted Lal Krishna Advani to fail, and he wanted others to galvanize around him. When he won the third election, then he saw the opportunity for himself, and then he planned. Mr. Yogi, unfortunately or fortunately, you look at how many MLAs are with him. You can count on fingers, not many, not more than a dozen. So you can't run a state where you don't have a majority of MLAs on your side. Mr. Modi, whether the people, whether the MLAs are fearful of him, but nobody in Gujarat, as long as he was the chief minister, would have dared to sit on a dharna against his leadership within the premises. If anybody had done that, they face the consequences. So there is a lot of difference. Secondly, Mr. Modi also realized that Hindutva alone will not take him forward. It's Hindutva plus. And that's where he has cultivated himself, that he's somebody who has a vision for the country. Yogi doesn't seem to have that kind of a persona, that kind of a cool-headed mind over that kind of a planning which is needed. And Mr. Modi in 2013, he planned till the last mile. He's a genius in micro planning, and he fulfills that. I do not know how much he plans for the government, but when it comes to his own success, when it comes to his own pursuit, he plans till the last mile and for perfection.
So Aditya, instead of saying Yogi as Modi's successor, should we see will Yogi last post the UP elections? Is he here only for the next 6 months?
Yeah, that's a very dramatic U-turn from our earlier premise. Well, I think this is what is happening now. It's a holding operation. Clearly, Yogi does not want to slide any lower than he has. I mean, it's unusual for MPs, a person like Santosh Gangwar, who is a ghoul. I mean, he would not open his mouth about anything, criticizing the chief minister for management of COVID. There have been half a dozen MLAs and ministers who have said that this is not the way to run COVID operations. In Banaras, till A.K. Sharma landed there, it was a mess, and the proposer of Modi's name, Chanulal Mishra's daughter, went public to say that bribes were sought when Chanulal Mishra's daughter died because of COVID, and they could not see her face. The award boy demanded 25,000 rupees to show her face to his father. This is the same person who was Modi's proposer. So there has been a lot of sliding because of, Yogi's administrative grip on the state. So I don't think that it's going to be that smooth a sail for the BJP and Yogi Adityanath in the coming election.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.